Well, it's World Anti-Counterfeiting Day, and it's held every June to raise awareness of the damage caused by counterfeiting and piracy. Luxury branded handbags, clothing, toys, DVDs, wine, spirits are just some of the products that are being copied. In May this year, police confiscated counterfeit goods worth 18.5 million rand in Gauteng alone. The 2018 Global Brand Counterfeiting Report shows that the scourge continues to rise despite a slowdown in global economy. Well, for more on this and what you can do about it, we have in the studio Paul Ramara, a partner at Spoor and Fisher. We are lawyers who historically have always specialized in trademarks and intellectual property. Paul, good morning, and thank you very much for coming in.
Morning to you and the viewers at home.
Yeah, we do know that counterfeit of goods, fake goods are with us, even just generally. Now we see that they're making their way into spaces like Instagram, where many people you can check out on Instagram. They're advertising all kinds of stuff, including fashion items. How do you even start knowing what is fake and what is not fake on such platforms?
Well, the first thing that you have to look at is the price that is offered by the counterfeiters. That's a simple giveaway as to whether something is counterfeit. If the price is too good to be true, it probably is. That's the first thing you have to look at. The quality of the goods is usually substandard. They try sometimes to just improve on the looks just so you can buy it and only discover at home that it's not the real.
But at the time you're looking at it, they use visuals that make it look legit and looking of good quality, but you don't know that because you're looking at a picture.
Absolutely. So, you know, it's only when you peer too closely that you'll discover that it's not really original. The other thing is, of course, spelling errors. And because, you know, most of these counterfeit goods originate from the East China in particular, they speak Mandarin, they often make spelling errors.
Okay, that's just other thing that you can do. Now, in our country, I mean, legally speaking, does anybody have a recourse? I mean, or if a brand, I mean, I'm just going to use an example of a South African brand, you know, that is there, and then somebody's advertised it. How can you legally protect yourself? Do you have some recourse? Absolutely.
So South Africa sits in a very fortunate position in the sense that we have a special legislation to deal with counterfeiting. It is called the South African Counterfeiting Act. And this is a special legislation that is specially designed to deal with the scourge of counterfeiting. So if you come across suspected counterfeit goods, there are enforcement authorities that are specially out there to assist with the fight against counterfeiting. What
about the jurisdiction? You lawyers also speak about jurisdiction. I mean, you've ordered something from elsewhere on the web, then you receive it in South Africa. What recourse can you have?
Yes, it is a little bit difficult when it comes to, you know, goods that are sold online because of jurisdiction, as you say. But our clients, most of our clients have got agents across all the countries. So, of course, if more investigation is done in that regard, one can, of course, even get to the actual source.
Now, I mean, when people engage in counterfeit goods, one will imagine there's a network of sorts, there's a syndicate of sorts, because I think it's very expensive for one individual to try their luck there. And it's therefore an organized kind of crime. Am I wrong to assume that?
You are indeed correct. Interpol has identified counterfeiting to be a part of organized crime. They've also identified it as one of the top 5 priority crimes. It is an organized crime kind of thing.
Absolutely. Now, if you successfully raise the issue legally and stuff, what kind of penalties do people actually face? Do they get jail time? Do they have to pay fines? How does it work?
So if you are a first offender, in terms of the Counterfeit Good Act, you can be fined an amount of 5,000 per item involved in counterfeiting, or 3 years imprisonment, or a combination.
That seems to be light in my view.
Well, if you have 10 shirts and you have to pay 5,000 per shirt, it's not light in my view.
Like, yeah.
And
but that's if you're a first offender.
A first offender.
If you're a repeat offender?
If you're a repeat offender, it's 10,000 per article involved in counterfeiting or 5 years imprisonment, or both.
Yeah. Are you aware of any successful kind of case that have been brought against somebody with counterfeiting in our country, for example?
Well, I was involved once in a matter where the Chinese national got a jail sentence of over 5 years. So that was quite a game changer. Unfortunately, the judiciary itself needs to be sensitized about the need to fight counterfeiting. Often it's seen as a soft crime, which is a problem, but it goes far wider than that. It goes into medicine, it goes into all sorts of issues.
Yeah, and companies and brands who invest a lot of money every year in their brands lose a lot of money when their goods appear in a fake form. Because,
absolutely, not only money, brand reputation as well, and of course they also cannot create jobs, because
that's
how do you compete?
Yeah, because then you're going to lose jobs. Now, very briefly, looking to the future, I mean, there's technology nowadays, there's artificial intelligence and stuff like that. How can companies or brands, in your view, really try and protect themselves?
Well, one of the things that companies and ourselves are doing is to constantly monitor all the online selling platforms like eBay, Gumtree. We constantly monitor them, and if we find counterfeit goods, we take measures to make sure that they are taken down. The other thing, if we see a particular pattern with a particular infringer, we will conduct investigation with a view to finding out about their real location and conducting what we call a search and seizure operation.
So you have to be awake all the time online, checking out what is being advertised on all these kind of online sale platform. Paul Ramara from Spoo & Fisher, thank you very much for your time and insights this morning. Now, let's focus